obviously this call is about exercise. What kind of exercises work for our goals? What's the deal with exercise and movement? But I want to make this completely about you guys who attended. And so I would love to know some of the questions that you have. Throw them in the chat box. Like if it's maybe something you've heard, maybe it's a specific thing that you're like, I would love to find out the answer to this. Throw it in the chat box. Even if you're like, I'm just here for general info, put that in the chat box. I want to know why you guys came so I can tailor this next 30 minutes to you. If you want to say it out loud, you also can. You're not limited to the chat box. Okay, tone, belly fat, general knowledge. Okay. Thanks, Amber. You're so nice. General info because I'm awesome. Appreciate that. I've got some good stuff. Anybody have like a specific question? Like, hey, I want to know, how do I make my neck chub go away? All right, that's specific. Yeah, I want those kind of specific questions. Throw them at me. I like specific. Tika, I'm writing it down, everybody. And then Ashley, Susan, Rose. Okay, awesome. Tone upper arms. All right, I love it. We're gonna get right to it. So this call, you're gonna leave with, okay, Julie wrote, my top belly is bigger since menopause and I wanna get that back. Lose belly fat, tone, but not bulk up. I love these questions. So good. How do I guide a fairly active 19-year-old who wants to lose fat, but also loves all the sweets? A really good question on that too. So we're going to hit all of this. You guys came because you're like, let me learn what exercises will actually help me with my goals. I phrased it like that on purpose because goals are individual, right? Like your goals, Susan, might not be the same as Ashley's goals, might not be the same as Beth's goals. So we'll start off this talk with, it depends, but I'm going to give you a lot more than that so you understand how this works. So exercises first, fast twitch muscles and coordination. I like that. And then Mindy wrote, how do I get rid of flab under my armpit? All awesome questions. Natika said, I've done cardio for years without seeing physical results. It's only been when I incorporated weights that I've seen results. Do you truly not need to sweat when exercising? I don't sweat with weightlifting like I do with cardio. And end up feeling like I didn't get the best workout. And then chubby tummy. So these are so good. Such good questions. So first off, how many people have seen marketing that really emphasizes like a workout program to help you burn fat or tone, stubborn areas? Like you've seen workout and exercise programs for that. Have everybody seen that before? Julie says yes. Everybody says yes. Okay, because that's pretty common, right? It's like, here's this exercise program and it is going to help you burn belly fat. So the very first sort of like myth we're going to bust is like, that's just not how it works. Exercises can't spot correct a particular part of where you store body fat. So you can't like do the thigh master, right? The, Suzanne Summers situation where you're like squeezing your legs together to burn fat off of your legs. It just doesn't work like that. So how does it work then? How do we lose fat off of our body? And how do we see muscle, that's what toned means, I think, right? Like toned means that we can actually see muscle definition. What does bulky mean? Ashley, you said lose belly fat, tone, but not bulk up. Hold on, you're muted. Let me unmute you. Let me see if you got to unmute. There you are.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I want to be toned where you do see the muscle, but I don't want it to be bulky. I don't want to look like I'm too muscular for my size. Just tone it up.
What does muscular mean to you? Like, are you thinking like really bodybuilder-y, like all sorts of?
Yeah. I mean, I don't that's not what I'm looking for, just to have it like lean, toned looking muscles.
Okay, so good news. Good news is unless you supplement ladies with steroids or are really genetically created to be incredibly muscular, and there are women who are more genetically muscular, it is not likely that you would ever like bulk up, like kind of what you're imagining, like, oh, if I lift weights, like I would get bulky. What most people want is they want to have a nice shape that they can see, right? Like we all have like a nice shape under here somewhere, and we want to see it. So if you're like, okay, well, I have arm muscles, but I want to see them. I feel them. Maybe you didn't feel them at all before, and now you're doing some kind of exercise and you can feel it, but you're like, I want to see it. That's what you mean when you're saying tone. You don't want to just be like, you're like you described, you don't want big old biceps. Don't worry, you won't create them. You can do this all day long. You're not going to have muscles like that again. So but how do you see those muscles? How do you see them? I think that's the end game. So we're kind of like fast forwarding, but ultimately end game is we want to have a nice shape that we can see. Is that accurate? Is that about like what everybody's like? Yes, that's it. You nailed it. That's what I want. Bingo. Okay. So most people know that they're like, okay, well, I've heard the thing. I've heard the thing that it's more nutrition than exercise. So let's kind of break that down, because have you ever heard that phrase, like abs are made in the kitchen, not in the gym? Let's figure out what the heck they're talking about. Because is that confusing to anybody? You're like, wait a minute, everybody's telling me abs are a gym thing, so I'm confused. Natika's shaking her head. Yes. So what the heck does that mean? It means that you have abs right now. You have muscles right here, right now. Now, what shape are they? How like developed are they? They might not be developed like a gymnast, because you might not have been doing gymnast exercises, or like the CrossFit girls who have like absolute like developed abs. So you have developed abs, right? You have some kind of abs right now. You just can't see them. Why? Because maybe you have some extra stored body fat on top, right? That's the truth of it. Maybe it's just because you can't see them because they're covered up. So then the abs that you might develop could be developed from exercise. So if you do nothing, zip zero nothing with your nutrition, and you just do exercises to get stronger, you can develop your muscles and not lose weight. Anybody ever experienced that before? You're like, I joined a thing and I feel stronger. I'm doing something, but I'm not seeing the weight go down and I can't see them. So what the hell? That's because you are actually getting stronger. You have not lost your mind. You're actually getting stronger. You are developing muscles. You're protecting your joints from injury. You're like actively training your heart to be healthier, right? When you're like sweating, you're breathing, and you're like, oh my God, that was terrible. And then the next time it's like a little less terrible. Your cardiovascular system is adapting. So all of that's great. All of that's great. So then if we want to, we're going to break this down into two pieces. We want to lose stored body fat, right? If we want to see the muscles we developed, and then we'll talk about how do we develop muscles. So if we want to lose stored body fat, what's the stupid thing that everybody says? How do you do it? What's that stupid phrase that just pisses us all off?
Eat less.
Eat less. Rose says cardio. Eat less, exercise more, or like calories in, calories out. She put crunches. That's a stupid phrase that you hear all the time. It's just calories in, calories out. It's not just how you do it. Okay, so like let's make that actually helpful instead of stupid. Because we want it to be helpful. It's not wrong, but it's not helpful if it's just like that. And you're like, that doesn't make sense. So what does calories out mean? We have to kind of define it. If we're like, okay, it's not going to be stupid, we're going to make it empowering, not stupid. What does calories out mean?
That's the exercise part, right?
Let's break it down. Yeah. Could it be the exercise part? Beth put movement. So let's think of it this way. Moving, calories out is like how much energy your body uses all day. Your body as an engine uses a certain amount of energy. That's your calories out. So then what makes up our calories out? This is the part most people don't know. This is what will make that stupid statement helpful. Calories out. What's made up of calories out? You guys listed a couple of them. Exercise is one. Movement is one. So like just move around is what we're going to call movement. Walking, housework, chasing kids, doing your job. That's movement. What else is our energy that we use all day? Anybody know? It's staying alive energy is what we'll call it. Staying alive. It's the energy that just is required for you to stay alive. It's like your resting energy. If you were to just wake up in the morning and lay on the couch and do nothing but stay alive, that energy is like it's called your BMR. It's your basal metabolic rate, your resting energy. Any guesses for how much your BMR makes up your total energy for your whole day? What percentage do you think is your BMR? You're lay on the couch all day in your total calories used up or your total energy. Rose said 80. Who else has guesses? 70, 40, haven't seen it yet. I'll tell you. Have you guys tell I'm caffeinated up today? It is 60%. 60% is your staying alive of your total energy needs for the day. 60%. That's cool, right? That's good to know. How do you make that number go up? Do you know? Any guesses? How do you essentially use more energy just by staying alive? Well rested. That's not wrong. There's a specific thing. Sleep. Boom. Teresa nailed it. Build more muscle. Build more muscle. So why is it cool to like actually add muscle mass? Because it raises your BMR. Your body literally burns more energy just laying around than it would otherwise. That's cool. That's like something you work for it in the gym, but it just works for you all the time. So 60% of your total energy that you use in the whole day comes from just staying alive. And we know if we add muscle mass, so all those times that you felt frustrated and you were like, I just went to the gym for 6 months and I didn't lose any weight, but I got stronger. Guess what? It was not for nothing. You just raised your whole metabolic engine. So good job, you. So even if you're like, what the hell? I cannot see my shape that I want to see. You did good. You made yourself healthier. You made yourself less prone to injury. You added muscle. You made your body use more energy throughout the day. So that is 60% of your total energy that you use throughout the day. What else? So we said muscles and we said movement and we said exercise are the other pieces. There's one more piece. Do you know what it is? How we use energy throughout the day or how we burn energy. It's called TEF. Our body, 10% of our daily energies that we use is from digesting food. Digesting food. So when we eat and we digest food, our body does work. It burns calories. Guess what? Calorie burn, or what food burns the most calories? Just as a knowledge piece. Boom. Katie was like, on cue. Protein. So again, like eating protein all day isn't necessarily going to like, again, make this all make sense. But just so you know, eating protein actually is the most thermogenic food you can eat. Your body has to work the hardest to digest it. So 10% of your energy spent every day is on food. And then now we've got 30% left. Anybody want to guess what percent exercise, like go to the gym exercise is? I hate when people make me guess, so I'm sorry that I'm doing this to you guys because I hate being wrong. I'm afraid to hear 5 to 10%. I know. Help me, right? Okay, so what the hell? Why should we exercise? That sounds dumb, right? It's not dumb. Here's the thing about exercise. The exercise that you're doing in the gym, it does matter, absolutely. So 10% is not nothing, by the way. 10% could be enough to move you into that weight loss, like where you're seeing fat come off. But it does build muscle. It makes your body healthier. It is essential to keep you active in your life, chasing kids, you know, picking up babies, doing stuff. We exercise for our lives. And so that's like a mental mind shift that I want you to take from this call is like, I'm exercising to be strong, to be capable, to protect my joints, to build muscle so that my heart can be healthy, so that I can adventure. Like there's a ton of good reasons to exercise. Plus it's good for your overall health. Like your health measures improve from exercise. So all of those are, so it's not don't exercise, but we want to know how it fits into this picture. So now you're not going to be pissed when you're like, what the hell? I joined the gym. I did it. Why isn't it working? We know that actually that's a small part of your total energy that your body needs for the whole day. This is why when I tell everybody adding in 30 minutes of intentional movement, so you're moving energy, which is much more important than your exercise energy, you know, if we're talking percentages, that can be huge. So if you go from sitting all day and now you take a 30-minute walk in the morning and a 30-minute walk at night, you just jacked up your body's ability to use energy. Right? Our energy out just went up because that's a big portion of what our, you know, how our body uses energy is just our walk around. And so it's not a myth when people are like, oh, take the stairs. Oh, park far away. Oh, take little walks. Like it isn't silly. That is how you do it. Rose, really good question. She said, when you say movement, that's not the same as saying exercise. You know, in Fit Me, we say movement because of this actual thing. This is the science behind why I say movement. Because if I just said, what did you do for exercise? And you're like, well, today's a rest day. And your exercise is maybe going to CrossFit class where you did 20 minutes of exercise and the rest you were like practicing stuff. You're doing like 30, 60 minutes exercise total this week. And it feels good. You're like, I'm proud of myself. I went to CrossFit class 3 times this week, but you're basically still sedentary. So what I find to be much more effective is saying like our bodies need to move every day. And so doing 30 minutes of intentional movement is a more productive way of thinking about it, because then yes, CrossFit or boot camp or swimming class, that could count as your movement. But on a day that you don't have that, you go for a walk. Or maybe you're somebody who has already been doing CrossFit class for a long time and you haven't been seeing any changes. You don't have to quit. It's good for you. It's great. We talked about it's good for you. But when you're like, what the hell, are you also doing the movement piece? All right. If the answer is yes, I am doing the movement piece, then we're going to get to what comes next. But if you aren't doing the movement piece, this is great. This is really great because you can add this in and it will matter. You will see the muscles. Again, we're going to return to the thing you said you wanted. You want to see the muscles under there. So we know we need to have our body burn some of the stored body fat so we can see our muscles, so we can look more toned. That's what that means. We're going to build muscles. So we just need to increase how much energy our body uses all day. And we need to decrease a little bit of how much we take in. That's why calories in, calories out is a stupid phrase, because it doesn't translate into like how we actually need to do it in our life. But it is accurate in some ways. It's just we have more power over it than you think. It's not going to translate when you're like, okay, I'm on the elliptical machine. Like, let me calorie out what I just ate. It doesn't work like that. So it doesn't mean the elliptical machine is bad. It can be really enjoyable. It's just, it doesn't translate like that. So our big picture, energy out, is made up of our resting, how much staying alive energy we need. We can make that go up by building muscle. The energy that we spend eating food, eating protein helps. We burn more energy when we're eating protein. We also build more muscle when we're eating protein. Our moving and walk around energy is actually the biggest chunk after our resting energy, are just walk around all day, walking around energy. And then last but not least is exercise. Here's the last piece that I want to tell you about this whole like energy out situation is exercise is so important, but going crazy for 2 days in the gym and then having to take 5 days off because you're busted isn't helping you if your goal is weight loss, because you're moving less, right? Like you're like, I'm sore. I'm not going to get up. Can you go get it for me? I'm sore. So we actually don't want to overdo it. I mean, sometimes we just make them, everybody's going to overdo it sometimes. But point is if your overall goal is to start to see more muscle and you're not trying to go to the, Olympics or something, then make sure you tone it back enough so that you can stay active, so that you can stay moving and then come back and train another day. So I promised we would talk about, I'm sure you thought I was going to say like push-ups. You're like, I came to this to hear that I'm supposed to do deadlifts, push-ups, and squats. That's why I came. You're telling me all this crap. I really wanted you to understand what exercise and movement, how it impacts your goals. And so now you have this big picture of, okay, I get it. That's what the pie is made up of energy out. If you were going to make a change to your nutrition, right? So you're like, okay, abs are made in the kitchen, apparently. So what does that mean? It means that it's easy for us to out eat exercise. And so if we want, so I'm going to illustrate that, like if you did a hard boot camp class and you felt like you worked your butt off, you maybe burned between 300 and 400 calories. You could eat that like that. 2 ginormous scoops of peanut butter, right? You're back. I hate the idea of playing that game of like, oh, I got it. That's not sustainable. But I just want to point out that the mindset of like, oh, you're burning off your whatever, it's not helpful. However, when we eat slightly less than our body needs, so our energy needs we just talked about are like here. And if we eat slightly less than that, that is how you burn stored fat. It's not eating way less, it's eating slightly less. So if you are starting day 1 and you come to Fit Me, the first thing we do is teach you the basics, which is like, we're going to move for 30 minutes. We're not going to drink our calories. We're going to avoid processed junk, and we're going to focus on Fit Me plates. Why? Because it does that automatically. Oftentimes, if we're like, okay, well, I'm not going to eat processed junk, well, I'm not going to eat that snack right there. And I'm going to do a balanced Fit Me plate instead of just rando portions. All right, there it is. And I'm not going to drink that sugary coffee from Starbucks today. You just made tiny changes to your nutrition that bring down that intake at the same time as you just added in more walking. That's how it works. So you make a small change to your nutrition, whether it is eliminating eating out, replacing it with eating at home, paying attention to your portion sizes, eliminating junky snacks, eliminating drinking your calories. These are all like sound so silly and basic, but that's what's required. Focus on eating more protein. You know, those are the things that you do. And then at the same time, you increase your movement. You start walking more. You start fidgeting more. So you get up and you take calls on your feet, or you just had a meeting, you get up and you take a quick walk, or so-and-so wants to meet for coffee. So instead you grab the coffee and you guys go walk together. You start proactively moving more. You look at strength training and you're like, you know what? You do need to strength train. This speeds up the whole process of seeing your muscles. So strength training could look like different things for different people. It might be body weight work that you do in your house. Maybe strength training is body weight squats, push-ups, pushing sugar over your head. That's strength training. Or it might be going to CrossFit class. It might be going to your boot camp class. It might be getting a kettlebell and following a YouTube series. Like, any of those are great, but strength training helps you because it builds muscle. And we already know that that's part of this equation. Plus, it shapes you, right? So that's kind of the thing when people are like, oh, I want to be toned, but I don't want to be bulky. The shape that you're seeing is developed from lifting weights. That's why people who do certain activities kind of look like they do certain activities. It shapes them. So you can see like a runner's muscles look different, like a distance runner's muscles have changed shape based off what he does, versus like a power lifter's muscles look different, or like an Olympic sprinter, like their muscles have changed. So there are certain exercises that can change your muscles. I personally, if you came to the Fit Me event this year, you know, I like the ones that use your whole body, because these are your big muscles. Your quads are big muscles. Your hamstrings are big muscles. Your glutes are big muscles. Your core, your abs and back, those are big muscles. Those big muscles, when you train those big muscles, they change shape. And that's what you're like, oh, my jeans fit better. My jeans fit better because your muscles have changed shape and you have made changes to your activity and your nutrition. All of a sudden, jeans fit better. All of a sudden, you're like, wow, my waist has come in and my booty looks awesome. And you're like, I like that. That's what I want. That's what people want to see. And so that's how you do it. You've got to do exercises that use your whole body. So which exercises do we like? We like them all. And wherever you're starting is totally fine. But doing like deadlift, where I'm picking up a bar and standing up, that's going to use my whole body. It uses my booty muscle, my hamstrings, my back. I'm picking up weight. Deadlift's my favorite one to start with if you are new to strength training. What else uses the big muscles? Squats. So you can just hold a weight right here at your chest. Like this. I keep it under my desk because I'm a weirdo like that. But you can hold a weight right here and then squat. You're going to use your quads, your glutes, your middle. Everything is holding this weight right here. Love that. Picking something up from the floor and then putting it overhead. So I'm going to pick this up from the floor and I'm going to put it overhead. I just use my whole body to do that. Those are my favorite type of strength exercises that change the shape of your body. Ones that use multiple joints, that use your whole body. And by all means, like if you want to add some bicep curls in there, do it. But if you ask me which ones work best, it's the big muscle groups. Those are the ones that create the biggest changes. And they're the ones that burn the most calories. What size weights? Rose, it depends on you. But my general rule for strength training when I was doing personal training is that when we're learning the movement, if we like don't know how to do it, then you don't need any weight. It should feel like barely anything because you're just practicing the form. But after that, we want it to actually be hard at the end of the set. So for example, if you are doing like a set of 8, like maybe these are good, but then you're like at 7, oh God, 8. So that's going to be different for everybody. You're going to want to like get to a point where Natika, that is cruel. She just put her amazing plate right in front of I'm hungry. And that looks incredible. She's like, here you go, everybody. look at this. That looks so good. So there's no exact weights, Rose. It's very dependent on the person, but your body is a great weight. So anybody who doesn't think their body is a weight, go ahead and give me 50 push-ups and let me know. Because your body is absolutely a weight, and squatting your body is a weight, but our bodies are awesome. They adapt, and we tend to have to change things to make it harder. So for push-ups, for example, oftentimes I tell people that they can start on a countertop. So like right there, that countertop right there, and we could be doing push-ups here. Well, once that's easy, then I'm going to switch to push-ups on a lower thing. And then once it's easy, I'm going to go to the floor. And that's essentially making it a heavier weight. It's still just my body. So let me summarize a little bit, and then I'll circle back and make sure we hit everybody's questions. I hope I didn't like sneak attack you and like be like, this is not what I wanted to learn. But now you know stuff. You know more than most people now, just by coming to this training. You know what the hell that stupid phrase calories in, calories out means, and how it actually is broken down. Calories out is what energy your body uses throughout the day, and how it's broken down, and how you can actually increase it. You can increase it by building muscle, by walking around more, and absolutely by exercise. So any combo of those is great, but exercise can't be the only one, because we learned that's a small piece. We also want to make changes to our nutrition that help us get below what our body needs. Just a little bit, not a lot. If we go too low, our body doesn't like it. So just a small deficit is like, you know, again, it depends on you and where you're starting. But if you are somebody who is like having a lot of sugar, or that you are using kind of snack foods, or you're not paying attention to portion sizes, or you're eating out a lot, you don't even need to stress, because that's your low hanging fruit. That's where you start. You eat at home more often. You do Fit Me plates. You focus on portion sizes. You eliminate the sugary drinks or the soda. You replace it with water. You're already on the right track. Once you've gotten that far, it's like, okay, then you can start focusing more on portion sizes, what your body specifically needs. That's one of the things that we do in Fit Me is we help you make these initial changes, these really important foundational changes. And then we look at specifically what does your body need to create that perfect balance of like, okay, I am eating enough, but I am not, but I am slightly low if your goal is weight loss. So that you can create that balance of I am active enough, I'm doing the right kind of exercise to keep going, and I have changed my nutrition in a way that is going to create change. That is how you get permanent change. And so that's what we do in Fit Me. The On Track program helps you change that foundation. We introduce you to some basic stuff that sounds easy, but it's never easy to do. It sounds easy, but even something as simple as drinking water, it's incredibly helpful to have accountability and momentum and support. Fit Me plates, just learning that and starting to do it sounds so easy. Yeah, I can do it. Protein, veggie, carbs, fat, done. Nope, it's harder than that, because you have to actually start to put that stuff in your house and make it taste good and pay attention to it a little bit. Make sure it's not thawed out, figure out how the hell you're going to say no thanks to the people who are like, let's go to Papa John's tonight when you don't want to go to Papa John's. Like, there's always a little bit more to it. And that's what we help you do. We actually help you do it in your real life. And then once that foundation is placed, then we get to build on it. So our new Fit Me 2.0 program, you get individualized support around what your body needs for exercise and what your body needs for food. You've always gotten individualized coaching, but now we're giving you like more tools to get what you need. So Teresa wrote, this was super helpful. I knew more muscle equals more calories burned, but I had no idea that movement had a bigger effect than strength training. Yeah, I would not say don't do strength training. I just want you to understand how important movement is and how strength training affects us. Strength training, Teresa, in the long run, there is not one female that I would say shouldn't be doing strength training. If you are not strength training 2 to 3 times a week, you're missing something important, because our bodies. So remember that BMR thing, that whole like 60% of our energy that we burn throughout the day. You know what happens to women when we hit a certain age? Somebody wrote about it in menopause, like talking about menopause. What happens to us is we start to lose muscle mass and we lose bone density. So both of those things happen unless we are proactively working to keep them. And what does that do? That means you burn less calories. So what does that mean? If you eat exactly the same, you gain weight. So everybody's like, my hormones are messed up. Menopause made me gain weight. Nope. You literally have less muscle because that's what happens to our bodies. Our bodies start to break down the muscle when we get to be a certain age. So your body needs less calories, but we're eating the same as you always ate, maybe even a little bit more because you're retired now. So you're having like a tiny bit of treat, but you're like, what's wrong with me? I'm barely having anything different. That's what's happening. Your body is changing and it's not out of your control. It's so infuriating when we feel like it's out of our control, but it's not. Some things are going to change, right? We're going to get old. There's some things that are going to be, change no matter what. But strength training, moving, and having a really strong foundation for our nutrition is absolutely in our control. 100%. So if you are new and you're listening to this and you're like, I hear you on all of this, and I need some help with this, I'm gonna give you two choices. Choice number one is just sign up for On Track because we're starting on Monday. So I'll put the link in the comments. I think that's a no-brainer. It's 4 weeks long. It's $97. It's a great way to change the foundation with some structure, with some help, with some coaching. I coach in that group. Coach Lauren's coaching that group. We've got some other coaches in there. So you're going to get actual help changing the foundation. So I'm going to put that in there. If you are listening, you're like, I think I want to do that, but I actually just need to have a conversation with Christy. Just shoot me a message. We'll set up 20 minutes to talk. You can tell me a little bit about you and what's going on, where you're at, and we'll make a game plan. And then we can, like I said, either way, I'll point you in the right direction. Even if it's not fit me, I'll be like, here's what you should do. So that way you have direction. So that's what in Rose is. You are starting Monday. I'm pumped that you're starting, Rose, in the On Track group. And if you are already a Fit Me client and something from this training hit and you're like, I got it, this is one change that I can make that I wasn't already doing, then take that to your coach and don't forget. I know you're going to like hang up from this and you're going to go do all the things. So take the thing that's stuck in your head and you're like, this is a change that I know I need to make, and tell your coach so they can give you some accountability and support and help you do it. Because again, knowing isn't the same as doing, not the same. Now that you know this stuff, we want to take it and turn it into action. So I think I hit everybody's questions. Does anybody have anything before we wrap up? I wanted to stick to as close to 30 minutes as I can. I told you I was like on full blast energy today. It's because I felt like crap all week last week. Now I feel good. Awesome. You're welcome, Rose. It was great to talk with you guys. Thank you for like playing all my question games. It made it much more fun to make this interactive. If you like this training, then share it in the Facebook group and tell everybody what you learned. And because I'll send out the replay if people missed it. So if you had a takeaway, share it in the Facebook group so that other people are like, yeah, I want that takeaway too. Thanks, guys. If you need anything, just reach out. If you want to do a call, just let me know and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.